Hello, and welcome to this episode of Scientific Spirituality. Right now, all of us are busy preparing for Navratri. Navratri is a festival that is celebrated across all the states of India with equal fervor. The shades, the nuances, the rituals, the traditions may be a little different, yet the spirit and the essence of festivities is absolutely there consistently all through. And across these 9 days, we worship the divine energy of Shakti. 9 forms in 9 across 9 days. So, this episode of Scientific Spirituality, obviously, we thought we will base it around the theme of Navratri. And as is the objective of this initiative, let us go into the roots of these traditions to find out why we do what we do. So, are you ready for our questions, Ankur Bhaiya?
Pranam, Sushma Didi, pranam all the viewers, and definitely your questions are always so deep in their conscious existence that they really make me think. And yes, I think I am ready for your in-depth questions.
Wow. And we see you from the serene background of Ganga behind you. And this is so divine. I mean, that entire setting. So I think we are uh, all set to talk about Navratri now. So, Bhaiya, my first question is at the very root of the word Navratri. So, we see a lot of occurrence of Nav in a lot of things that we do in India. Navratna keh lijiye, Navras, then you have Navdhanya. Then even the human body is supposed to have 9 gates. I mean, that is what it is believed. So, what is the significance of this number 9?
Definitely, I'll start taking your questions, Sushma Didi, but considering this a very beautiful backdrop of Mother Ganga and Himalayas, let us first chant Gayatri Mahamantra. And now that we are talking about different forms of energies, let us chant the Gayatri Mantra and invoke that energy within us.
Sure.
I request all my viewers to kindly close their eyes, sit still, and listen to the powerful Gayatri Mahamantra and absorb its energy. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्. सभी को एक बार फिर से प्रणाम. Let's start with what has been asked. What is the significance of this number 9? Why Nav is such an important thing? Nav also means Naveen, new.
Mhm.
And if we see the decimal number from 0 to 9, 9 represents almost there to completion. 0 is considered as Shunya, Purna. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnata Purnamudachyate. This means that the whole cosmos is complete in itself, and the origin of every single unit in this universe is also complete. You are complete in yourself. Just that we have forgotten our true nature, therefore we look for completeness and contentness outside. Otherwise, we are complete. So that completeness is at Shunya. 9 is closest to that. If you see 9 as a shape of 9, it's like an embryo also, right? It's a
That's
small
interesting.
embryo,
And
in the womb of the mother. So we are Purna in the womb of this cosmos. And then, if you, as you were mentioning about the 9 gates in this body, yes, 9 gates in the body also again represents that we have these exchange doors where we are exchanging the cosmic prana from 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, mouth, and 2 excretory openings. So, such way we have these 9 openings. And if you refer to different religions, for example, if we see Christianity, it is said that when Jesus was crucified, uh, it took him 9 hours to leave his physical body. So there has been significance of this number in numerology also. Numerology also looks into 9 as a very, very significant number. You can overhear some chat from
Yeah,
Darshanarthis. They have come and they are enjoying the backdrop of Ganga, taking a dip in this cold water. Yes, so 9 definitely has a significance. And when we talk about Navratri, 9 nights, especially we talk about nights in Indian culture, Shivratri, Janmashtami, Navratri. Nights are also significant over days. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna that when the world sleeps, the yogi awakens. एक योगी रात को जागता है, which has two meanings actually. One is the literal meaning that in the night time, this thing, the yogic practices, the sadhanas can be done more peacefully. And second, that jagran from the tamas, the yogi awakens from the dark. And in healing also we see that sun rays actually, when they are at its peak, then they do not allow the transmission to happen that smoothly, the transmission of energy, the feelings, the vibrations. And therefore it is always considered as that sandhya is the best time. Morning sandhya, which is brahma muhurat, which is this time, like before the sunrise, we are still to see sun. And in the evening, the dusk time. So dawn and dusk are considered for worship because, and in all religions you can see this importance, because it is that moment when you have that window open where you can connect with the cosmic consciousness. So these 9 important nights which will be coming now, Navaratri, are actually, I always quote it with an example of sale. When we go to a sale, we pay less and we gain more because it's on a discounted price. Similarly, that universal energy is available on a very easy access mode with a little effort, a little fine tuning of this body through fasting, through maintaining the diet, a little fine tuning of the mind with some meditation and japa. We can reach to that access, we can access to that universal energy and gain a very easy and comfortable access and gain it in more quantity. So it's like it's showering in these 9 days, and we must try to capitalize on that time. So Indian festivals are not just festivals to for people to come together and have some enjoyment and disperse. They have a very spiritual significance and very scientific significance, be it any festival. So, for example, Shivaratri is a night, although every month we observe Shivaratri or Ganesh Chaturthi, but these are the nights in once in a calendar year, which we call as Mahashivaratri or Ganesh Chaturthi, Mahachaturthi, or these Navratri. So, for example, on Mahashivaratri, the body and mind are in such a state that one must try to be awakened in the night time as much as possible. Because if your body is awakened, your mind is awakened, and then you can be one with that cosmic energy. So, therefore, our rishis, our yogis of the past and ancestors uh, emphasized on being up in the night, chanting, meditating. For example, full moon every month we observe. So that way we must understand the significance of night over day as well. So night is not bad that way. We usually think, day and is awakening, night is all tamas and all. No, night has its own importance.
Yeah. So in fact, I had that as a question wherein I wanted to ask you ki why Ratra here. So I'm glad you already answered that. So Ankur Bhaiya, there are two Navratris that we celebrate in the Hindu calendar. So how are these two different?
Sushma Didi, let me add on to your question. There are not 2, there are 4 Navratris. Yes, 2 you rightly said have been celebrated on a more important note. When I'm saying 4 Navratris, one is this which is upcoming, the Sharadiya Navratri, Sharad Ritu, and this is also called as Ashwin Navratri. And then we will have the very famous Chaitra Navratri. Chaitra Navratri ends with Ram Navami, and this Ashwin Sharadiya Navratri ends with Dashera.
Okay.
So we can see that in India, if you see geographically, they are celebrated in different geographies. For example, primarily this upcoming Navratri is predominantly celebrated in West Bengal, and that means the eastern side of the country. And the emphasis of those states in bringing the new year is more in this time. If you look into the Chaitra Navratri, we end it with Ram Navami. and that's where you will see it is more celebrated in Ayodhya and this place, birth of Lord Rama. So the northern India, the western India celebrates it more. If you come to Gujarat side and all, their festival, New Year festival, is celebrated on a different note. So India was a colony of many practices, and therefore people had their own New Year celebrations. So this is the way of celebrating and bringing in the New Year. And many other states, for example, we celebrate Gudi Padwa in Maharashtra, right? So again, that is a way of bringing in newness in life and inviting the new energy. So different states have their own beliefs and patterns and days of celebration. But at the same time, when we look into the universal cosmic shift of energy, these two windows, this is also a time when the weather is shifting. We are now moving away from summers. The summers are almost gone, and now we are welcoming winters. And by virtue of the great Himalayas and natural geography which we have in India, we enjoy many seasons. गर्मी सर्दी बारिश तीनों ऋतुएं आती है और when we see the shift from one to another, the major climate, so major weather and climate situations, then it is quite evident that bacteriation, virus, and all these things are at its peak. If you see, I mean, but for corona, which is impacting now, even the normal flu virus, they go at its peak during these two times. That means one when we are shifting from summers to winters, and another one will be near about Holi when we will be shifting from winters to summers. So people sneeze, they cough a lot. The body detoxifies itself, and it is a way of body to recalibrate and build its immunity so that it can welcome the new change. So that's how the whole system functions, because it is one with the universe. I just spoke about Shunya, the Purnata. So because it knows it is intelligent, it recalibrates itself and aligns itself with the new climatic changes twice a year at least and build its immunity. So it's a good time to observe fasting, to practice certain yogic disciplines wherein I can save my digestive heat, I can save my energies of different organ systems, and then utilize it to build my inner immunity at physical level, at mental and emotional level, because there also people are very, very weak nowadays, and of course at the inner peace level, so that I can, for the next 6 months, perform my life in a better way. Although, as I said, there are 4 Navratris, so you get two more junctions. One is near Vasant Panchami, and one is somewhere in the month of June, where we get Gayatri Jayanti, which is also called as Ganga Dashera, the arrival of Mother Ganga on this planet. So that's how those two Navratris are also celebrated in many parts of the country. Sadhak, the spiritual disciples, they practice those also. So that is, you can also think as a gadget, this complete system as a gadget. We recharge the battery time and again. And if you talk to a technical person, he will mention that do not let your battery drain out below 10%, and do not overcharge it to 100%. Keep it between the range of 10 to 90. Don't let it fall below 10%, be it your laptop or any other kind. What do they mean is you need to regularly keep an eye on your battery level. Similarly, this nature also shifts itself, it recharges itself, this whole cosmos shifts, the orbital positions change, and so is what is happening in this universe, because our Shastras, they always say, Yatha Pinde Tat Brahmande. This is exactly what is there. So whatever is happening in that cosmos will happen here also, and vice versa. So the body aligns itself, it changes, and these 9 days and many other festivals like Janmashtami, like Holika, like Mahashivratri, like Gudi Padwa, all these are important windows of energy to kind of top up yourself, to kind of recharge your batteries and align your life back to the normal because of the external environmental and thought pollution. A lot of pollution is there around us which is contaminating our mind and body. Without knowing, we are consuming a lot of toxins, the external air pollution, the sound pollution, the thought pollution. They are getting into me and they are disturbing my life, so it is important to have some deep cleansing at regular moments. And this is where these two Navratris stand very strongly as a festival, not only of celebration of invocation of divine powers, but also the festivals of recharging, rejuvenating, and realigning your system with the rest of the cosmos.
And during Navratri, we pray to the Divine Mother, Shakti. in three forms. So
Hmm.
Durga, Lakshmi, and also Saraswati.
Saraswati.
Is this by design, or how, or is it just this, or what is it? Because there are so many forms of the Devi. So इसका क्या महत्व है या significance?
See, primarily we are celebrating it. There is a source power, and whenever we are talking about power, power is something which attracts everyone, isn't it? People are power hungry for money, for status, for their. Um, they want to rule the world. They want to be the millionaires and billionaires. This whole system is governed by power, our system and the rest of the system. Like we have the physical power, जिसे हम शरीर बल कहते हैं, मनोबल, the mindset, the power of mind, the power of inner uh, core, inner soul, if you want to call that. तो वो सोल की शक्ति है, आत्मबल. तो मनोबल, आत्मबल, शरीर बल, ब्रह्म बल, ये सब जो बल हमें मिले हैं, how can I utilize them? Power is not bad if it can be, regulated in the righteous manner. We have a prime minister who is very powerful and he's using it for the welfare. But at the same time, we have people like in the past history who have ruled the world in a negative sense. For example, Hitler was very powerful, but at the same time, he was using his power for a wrong means. Anyways, so power is something which always attracts us, and we must learn how to utilize it. Now, when it comes to the origin of the whole cosmos, in Sankhya Yoga, Kapil Muni explains this, that there are two elements to it. Although it is one, Advaita, but there are two elements to it, non-duality, and then from there is duality. What is the duality? That there is a consciousness, and that consciousness wanted to manifest. To manifest, it needed to express itself, and that expression needed a power. For example, if you need to express, well, I'm expressing myself, I need a power to speech, right? If, let's say, if I'm not able to speak, my sound box is not functioning, I won't be able to express through words. Maybe I need to find out a different means of expression, body language or maybe other artistic forms. But expression is required. So that universe, that cosmic energy, when it wanted to express itself, it needed that power. So therefore, we say Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, three powers which are the originators and the conductors and the destroyer of the toxic, the unwanted. Like God का full form बोलते हैं ना, generator, operator, and destroyer. Now these three forms again wanted to express themselves. So when I have to generate something, I need some energy, and I need the energy of wisdom, because I should be wise enough what I'm creating. So Brahma needed wisdom, that was Saraswati. So that's how it is expressed. That Saraswati is a spiritual consort of Brahma, and Brahma, when he wanted to create this cosmos, Lord Brahma took help of Saraswati. Then came Vishnuji, and Vishnu wanted to, kind of, his responsibility was to run the show. To run the show, you need to be a troubleshooter, you need a lot of intellect, you need to be witty at times, you need to be changing your roles and hats, many hats. So sometimes he comes with a flute, sometimes he comes with a bow and arrow, sometimes he comes as a pig, sometimes he comes as a fish, and he keeps changing his roles. He doesn't mind becoming many different roles and wearing different hats. But then again, he needs, to run the show, you need wealth, and wealth doesn't only mean money. It also means that you should be physically charming, you should be mentally very, your inner endurance should be high, your mental sharpness should be there. As I said, he is witty at times. So that's the energy of wealth, and that is why it is expressed as Lakshmi. It's abundance. He need everything in abundance because he need to run the show. He can't be cut short on finances, like it happens in our companies, that there is always so it's something. And if you see the family also, same is the unit. The husband wife, their roles are many. At the core, they're husband wife, and they are complementing each other. They are the expression of the same energy, but they come together to generate and create their family. Then they have to look after the family. So the husband, in olden days, and I mean, just day before we had this International Girl Child Day, and sad are the statistics that we are in India. Every day we miss 600 women and 100 plus children for child labor and human trafficking for sex and other purpose, for slavery. It is sad that every 15 minutes one rape is reported in this country, many go unreported. It is sad that we are killing 8 lakh girl children every year. So that means we still haven't understood the value of female energy. We haven't understood the value of this creator, because women is the creator. So we have to look into that. That in olden days, if you see Indian culture, two things were always preserved with female of the family, the women of the family. One was seed, because we were an agriculture country. So seed was always her duty. She knew when the mosam will change, the climate will change, and when to sow the seed. And finances. So she was considered as the goddess of wealth, because she understands, if she knows when to sow the seed, it will be many fruits coming up, and therefore it will be wealth for the family. So she is the lady, she is the energy who understands what abundance is, who understands the cosmos, who is so sensitive with the rest of the universe, and therefore her alignment will change the course of the family. So Vishnu and Lakshmi, and then comes Shiva and Parvati or Durga, where we say that Shiva means one who wants to remove the toxins, whatever is unwanted in the course of production and conduct of the show. There are many things which are unwanted. For example, you click many photographs, you save many files in your laptop or phone, but there are moments when you have to sit and clean it. You have to clean the trash. So whatever is unwanted, which is no more required, let's filter it out. And there is that energy, Shiva. And for that, you need destruction path. You need something to demolish. To demolish, you need something. And therefore, if you won't see Lakshmi sitting on a lion, they have vehicles. Vehicles means, how they carry them.
Yeah.
So here is the energy of lion, Durga. She kills the unwanted, the demons. And Navratri is again about killing the demons inside, the unwanted inside, and creating space within me so that I can create something new. Something new can be created, because only in that moment of stillness, with that wisdom which Lord Brahma wanted or had, we also have to kind of reach to that level of consciousness. And for that, I need to disengage myself from always thinking about what to eat, what not to eat, kitna khaye, kab khaye, kya banaye. So I need to fast. I need to disengage from eating. Also, scientifically speaking, when you eat less, you enhance the space element of your body, and when you have more space, you can think better. It's all scientific. So we worship these three forms, and at the core, there is only one form. They are not three different forms. They are the representation of the same energy to create, conduct, and destroy. So that is where Gayatri, Adi Shakti Gayatri comes in, and we chant Gayatri mantra. Many of the disciples or the sadhakas, the yogi practitioners, they practice Gayatri Mahamantra as a tool to enhance that energy. They repeat it. That is called japa. When you repeat something, it creates a lot of energy, like a dynamo. When it is moved many a times, the engine starts functioning. Similarly, when we repeat something, it empowers us with a lot of energy, and we find a significant shift happening in our body, which happens on a normal pace in normal days, but on these special days and nights, it can be enhanced. The multiplier effect comes into picture. So you get an exponential rise in your consciousness with less efforts.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, I mean, be it any form, I think at the core of it, the essence is that the female form is strong, female energy is divine, and that is an energy that balances, the entire environment, and that has to be really respected, revered, and worshipped in the right way. I think that is a big takeaway for us in terms of, how we lead and live our life. So during Navratri, there is also, at the how do I put? We do chant Durga Saptashati, because that
Mhm.
one thing that happens across these 9 days. So,
Mm.
iska mahatva kya hai? What is Durga Saptashati, and which are the chants that are actually recommended during these 9 days?
See, Durga Saptashati is a very, very sacred and very ancestral scripted text by Rishi Markande. In his scripture, which is called Markande Puran, Puran is the expression of Vedas and Upanishads in a story form. And if you see just the beginning part, if I touch, the starting says that there were two people, two characters. One was Surat and another was Samadhi. And they were dejected from their life. Their own loved ones cheated them. One was a king, another was a saint, but they both, saint in the sense, in the process of becoming a saint, they both were dejected from life, and they were sad. They reached to an ashram, the ashram of Medha, Rishi Medha. And there they reach, and Rishi Medha is now explaining them uh, different stories, and that stories actually are uh, the form of the core script of this text. Devi Mahatmya also we call it. So Mahatmya means importance. Again, the importance of feminine power, as you were just mentioned. Now, if you look into these three characters which have been built by into these stories, the Medha, the Surat, and Samadhi. Surat means having a great chariot. Samadhi means into that state of equanimity with the cosmos. Now, the world has become so contaminated that these are two extremes. One is who is completely into the physical manifestation. Surat is more about physical, the chariot. This body is a chariot and all. And if you see, Samadhi is the inner soul, which is wanting to be into that state of peace and Samadhi and contentment. And now, in between these two is Medha. Medha is intellect. Now, if this intellect really wants to move ourselves in the conscious nature, we can reach to that level of contentment. But if this intellect is gone, Vinashikale Viprita Buddhi, even if Lord comes in front of Duryodhana and says that give at least 5 villages, he's not ready to give because his intellect is locked now. It's not functioning. And therefore, it completely ruins the show. So, whether we are completely into the extreme material world or we are completely into the spiritual practices, we need a balance, and we need this. The balance will come from this Medha. So we need to go into this, the Sharan of Medha, like they go to Rishi Medha and he explains, and then he explains about different stories how different demons were killed by goddess, that feminine energy, which again came into many forms like Durga, like Chandi, like Kali, and she killed demons like Mahishasur, Raktabij, etc. So those stories are nothing but, for example, Raktabij is a story which is a very nice one. There was one Bollywood movie also which was created with that name, I think by Ram Gopal Verma. Now this Raktabij is what? Desires, human desires. Raktabij ke liye tha ki when one drop of blood will fall, another Raktabij, another demon will arise from it. And many such demons were arising. So the more you kill it, the more it comes up. That is what is happening with our desires. The more you are suppressing them, the more they are coming. So you need some energy, some again cosmic feminine energy to kill it. Who can really? So the story says, the metaphorical way of saying it, that she puts her tongue all the way wherever is the blood shed happening. She takes away the blood, and no more demons arises, and the main demon is killed. That means you need some foundation who can swipe away all these desires, that force, that power. And I think these powers are what which should aspire for. The external power of money, fame, etc. is not permanent, but these powers are very permanent in nature. So Navratri and these festivals are the uh, moments when we can really function on ourselves. And I think therefore the preparation should start a little early. Uh, so that like now we still are around 5-7 days away from it. So in another 3-4 days people should start orienting themselves to think about what do they plan in these 9 days, how will their life be. Anyways, now corona has brought us back to home, so how can I ensure that these 24 hours when I'm in home, my food habits, my thinking habits, my the way I communicate with the rest of the people, um, my personal inner core zone, am I meditating, spending time with myself, my namaz, my ardas, whatever I do, it should be given due importance, at least in this time, so that a momentum is set, and then from thereafter we can carry forward.
So, in fact, that was the next question that I had in my mind on what is the best way in which spiritual seekers can actually utilize and leverage and optimize these 9 days. So, what should we be doing? I mean, what?
I will say one thing, rather than doing too much, it's like always we say in keeping the physical body fit, that eat less and digest more, rather than overeating and digesting less. Like in the corporate cultures and otherwise also we say, okay, under promise and over deliver, rather than over promising and under deliver. So people sometimes wish to take bigger leaps, that okay, now let me these 9 days do so many things, at least 5 hours a day. See what you have been doing based on your regular consistent previous journey. From there take the cue and decide your plan of action. plan it thoroughly, like you plan what to cook, like you plan your trips, your journey, like you plan your career. Plan these 9 days and see to it that you plan it at physical, mental, and inner core soul level. People stop eating regular food and they jump to and switch to alternatives of keeping their body full. Nowadays you find hotels serving Navratra thalis and all those things, that you can find all the oily stuff and still you feel that I'm fasting. No, that's not fasting. I'm doing it not only for body. Upvas means sitting near, vas means rehna, up means near. So my body should sit near, my mind should sit near my soul, or that divine cosmos. So while I'm seated next to something very important, someone very important, and for a very important purpose, all these things which I'm anyways doing regularly are not that important now. They should be given less weightage. If you are hosting a very VVIP at your home, I'm sure you will not bother that what is the soap opera showing in the TV today, right? You will be attending that very important guest. So this is the time when the energies are ready to come and be your guests. So let's host them and keep our body, mind as light as possible with that objective. So if that objective if we remain aware about that, I think we will be able to plan out a good, actionable 9-day journey. That waking up in Brahma Muhurat in the morning, observing this environment wherever you are. Um, NASA has confirmed that photons की बारिश होती है. It's positive ions showering in the before the sunrise. So animals know it, plants know it, birds know it. They start chirping before we wake up. Only humans are ignorant about it. I don't know why. So we should think that we wake up early, whatever is your time. Now don't jump at 4 a.m. I will wake up, because regularly I was waking up at 7. At least wake up before sunrise. If it is 6:30, wake up by 6. Have some time in open air in your balcony or wherever you can, with of course hygiene protection considering corona. And then be with yourself. Spend silent time if you can. We speak a lot. I speak a lot. uh, we should, at least in the morning, spend time with yourselves. That dialogue should be internal. And then in food also, as I said earlier, also have some restrictions. You need not completely ignore food. You can switch to semi-liquid or easy to digest food. You can restrict the quantity of the food which you are eating wherever you are. From there, scale down the external material elements, and from wherever you are, scale up the conscious elements. So one, you need to scale down whatever has been material. Kapda material hai, aram material hai, spending easy time watching movies, gappe maar rahe hain, gossiping kar rahe hain, that's material hai. ये सब immaterial है, इसको कम कर दो. And whatever is the conscious, उसको बढ़ा दे. बस इतना एक थोड़ा सा balance create करना है.
सो वो कॉन्शियस एलिमेंट बढ़ाने के लिए एसेंशियली क्या करना चाहिए?
मुझे लगता है दीदी, फिर से मैं वही कहूंगा, but be with yourself. Your inner one knows it. It's shunya there. It will tell you what gives you more peace. That conscious element will tell. So if, let's say, reading books, nice books and biographies or spiritual texts give me peace of mind, and that will enhance my consciousness. For someone, it could be dancing on a mantra or singing praises to the Lord. Yes, that could be one way of raising consciousness. For someone, it could be writing good blogs and sharing awareness about this divine. Yes, that could be one way of doing it. But make it systematized, because everything has its importance. Sitting with closed eyes in silence has its own importance. Repetition, as I just mentioned, creates power, so that has its own importance. So let's give some weightage to everything. Like in a meal, in a complete meal, you have many things, right? Um, so likewise, in our the spiritual meal we have every day, we should have the and your inner soul tells you that what it needs, where is the craving, where is the journey. Your interest will guide you. So I think, rather than referring to external sources, we can refer it to ourselves, and we can very easily get to know what we want just by being with ourselves. Let the silence speak to you.
Oh, that's so
So
beautiful.
that will be your own answer. Otherwise, maybe I will give a prescription, ye karo, wo mat karo. someone else will prescribe something else tomorrow and will make equal logical sense or better sense. So हम लोग confuse हो जाएंगे.
That's right.
It
Yeah.
should
And
be
that
enough.
I think is also the beauty of our religion and of our tradition, that it really gives us that kind of freedom to pursue
Yes,
what we think aligns well with our own body and personality.
true.
So
Because every person is unique in that sense. Although we have many things in common, the same eyes, ears, mouth, everything, the body, but still everything is unique because of our inner consciousness and its state. And it's volatile, it's changing every moment. So, therefore, it should be guided from you at this moment of your consciousness.
yeah,
Where are you and where you want to reach? Accordingly, your inner one will guide.
that's it, and that's so beautifully said. Because I think that's what it is. You go step by step. So step one, as I understand from you, is actually understanding and at least learning to be with yourself. Do a little bit of introspection, try and find out, and at least be or experience that quietness and see the beauty of it. I think even if we are able to accomplish that, we would really have set on that path, and gradually that itself leads you. That's been my experience, ever since I'm associated with you, trying out different things. That's what I realized. So unless you try, you really do not understand what aligns well with
In a nutshell, spend time with yourself. And
you.
when you try different things, uh, I'm emphasizing on this because many of the viewers might understand it wrongly. That it is always said, don't try many things and just एक ही जगह गड्ढा खोदो, नहीं तो जगह जगह गड्ढा खोदोगे कुछ होगा नहीं,
Yeah,
पानी कहीं नहीं मिलेगा. Trying different things here, I think what Sushma Didi is trying to tell us is at least now you will know what is meant for you and what is not meant for you. So when you have attempted, you know that my consciousness gets too much involved in meditation, and I just love it. Or it is all about silence in my life, or it is all about mantra in my life. So that's how you experience and and then you give weightage to them appropriately. That out of a pie, I will give 50% weightage to meditation, 20% to japa, etc. Whatever. So that is what I think you are trying to say, that try different things and see what is meant for you in this consciousness, and accordingly then jump into it and dwell deeper.
yeah. क्योंकि भैया क्या होता है कि there are so many tools in this toolkit of
Hmm.
spiritual people.
Right.
you know, after certain time, you just wonder what you're supposed to do. कि मेरे को ये पढ़ना है, मेरे को दुर्गा सप्तशती करना है, मेरे को रोज मंदिर जाने का है, चढ़ावा चढ़ाने का. What is it that I should be doing? So I think essentially, if we understand this basis, that at the core of it, it's all about enhancing, like you said, your own consciousness level and increasing that part in your life, and going down on the materialistic aspect. I think that is what is at the core of all these celebrations and observations that we do.
Yes.
So Bhaiya, again, as always, very insightful, very interesting. And of course, there is never an end to the questions, but we do have the constraint of time that we have on ourselves. So I think, yeah, it was really great. We have a good premise and a context. And like you said, I think with this information and background, we can actually start preparing and orienting ourselves to making the best of, the forthcoming Navratri. And we wish all our viewers the very best. We pray for their good health, peace, and I think that is what is required at the moment, both peace and health with whatever is going around us. So
True.
yeah, any final thoughts from your side, Bhaiya, before we close?
I think let's try to see the sun if it is there, rather than having a final thought, a
Oh,
new sunshine in our life. It is about to come. You can see the golden lining over the top of the mountain, the veil of the mountain.
so
Still
beautiful.
about to come. So it's around 7 a.m. is what we can see the sun in Rishikesh nowadays because of the mountain and hilly range. Otherwise, the sun is already there. The daylight has come. Just that in mountain regions you find late sunrises and early sunset.
We can
So let
actually.
the new sun shine in our lives with this beautiful window of consciousness, which we call as Navratri. Utilize your nights in meditation. Uh, do less of external engagement and engage with your inner core more.
So thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sushma Didi. Thank you, all the viewers. Pranam.
Pranam.